This is cool because this is the esophagus all folded up. There's that stratified non-carinized squamous epithelium. This is the stomach. So you go from the esophagus at the level of the cardiac sphincter. You can't really even see, I can't, any smooth muscle. This is stomach. So see these paperclip-like things? They're pretty deep. Those are gastric glands. Gastric pits are really shallow. This is a view of the esophagus cut longitudinally. There are some of the structures at the very end where you now can see this esophageal or cardiac sphincter entering the stomach. If you know people with hiatal hernias, you know those sometimes, or gastric reflux, then some of the acid from the stomach goes through this tissue into the esophagus and then into the mouth where you can taste it, or here where you can feel it. Usually it's a burning sensation. You've seen this before, remember? So there's that stratified non-carinized squamous epithelium. Now you know it's esophagus, because there's mucosa, muscularis mucosae, submucosa, muscularis externa, and adventitia, none of which I'll ask you in this class. There's a distant view of a really pretty esophagus. There's mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, adventitia. Get into the stomach, this is a really good view of the stomach. Again, it's folded over on itself, because that way you expose the glands very clearly. This would be the lumen. There are the gastric pits, and these are the gastric glands. You see like big paper clips? The gastric glands with parietal cells and chief cells. I won't ask you which is which. Parietal cells and chief cells make up these glands. So that's mucosa, excuse me, submucosa, that's the muscularis mucosae. And then this is a distant view of the stomach. Again, gastric pits, gastric glands. So mucosa, muscularis mucosae, submucosa, muscularis externa. There are three levels: the oblique, the circular, and longitudinal. I'd ask you those on the model, on that stomach model that was just up here. You can see the three levels or layers of muscle. And there's the serosa. Then we have, this is a close-up showing gastric gland. I would never ask you something that closely. Then we get into the, there's stomach again. That's still too far away because I want you to be able to see the lumen. We're here in the duodenum. We know it's small intestine. How? Villi. See the villus? Good. So there's a villus. There's those. There are probably 20 of them. So your slides look like this. So there's a single villus with the microvilli. So there's mucosa, submucosa with the duodenal glands. See them? Then muscularis externa, very clearly seen. And then serosa. So you can identify clearly that as duodenum. This is same thing. There's villus, 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 duodenal gland. So that again is duodenum. I said I wouldn't ask you the colon, but I'll show you. The colon's relatively smooth walled. It's got mucus secreting cells, but it does not have plicae circulares. So the colon doesn't have rugae, doesn't have plicae circulares. It's got some pits and secretions, but mainly the colon serves to hopefully get the water out of the fecal matter, so the feces are purely waste material. Show you one more. That's not good enough. We know it's small intestine because of the villi. There's a good picture, though, of Peyer's patches. That's it. So we know small intestine, although these villi are crushed. So here's the mucosa. See these big things look kind of like cotton candy? Those are lymphoid nodules, Peyer's patches. This is by definition the ileum. So if I ask you the ileum and the duodenum, it would be based upon the presence of these submucosal glands. So mucosa, muscular submucosa, submucosa, muscular connective tissue, muscular system. And that's it. It's a lot.